going to Jamaica today. Woohoo! I was debating, do I like wear a bathing suit? You know, do I just kind of like be a little bit casual? Yeah, have a mixed drink, you know, maybe margarita.
We have Dr. Ted Emanuel live.
Hi there.
Hey,
Good day, Dr. Ted.
Hi. Who's the gentleman next to you? Hey, Rob, how are you doing?
Dr. Ted's been quite a while since we've spoken, but it's a pleasure to reconnect with you here.
Do I have to leave my phone on?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Then I'll leave my phone on.
Wonderful. You sound good, though. That's the most important thing.
Make sure I don't
clear.
run out of juice.
Okay. So I'm going to share our screen.
Here we are.
Hopefully it'll work.
Okay, I'm good.
Lovely.
Are
We're
you
here to
hearing me?
expect some technical difficulties during this Mercury retrograde and the age of COVID, but we're happy to have you with us today, Dr. Ted, and obviously CANNA World Expo for putting this event on. And it's great to be back and part of this team and excited for the information to share today.
Oh yeah, this is going to be fantastic. I wonder what the word of today is going to be. After all, last time when we were doing our CANNA World Expo back in April, we had, let's see, the word of the day was suppositories last time. So, oh yes, I even had a little electrical confirmation on that one. Let's see what today's word is going to be.
Today's word is immunity.
That's right.
Food medicine. Hashtag food medicine.
Yes, and hopefully this presentation will not be censored by the media. We will keep it squeaky clean, and we will explain through our wonderful naturopathic physicians, both Rob Streisfeld, NMD, and Dr. Ted Emanuel are naturopathic physicians who specialize in organic foods and botanicals. And Dr. Ted Emanuel from Jamaica takes a macrobiotic perspective to natural healing. I'd like to read a little bit about Dr. Ted after I explain the other voices you'll be hearing and the faces you'll be seeing on this presentation. My beautiful co-host and business partner, soul sister, Jessica Chandler.
Hi,
She's Beauty
Jessica.
and Brains.
Hey. Hey, Denise,
And
you
Beauty
share
and
that
Brains.
screen, babe, while you're at it?
Yes, I'm seeing it. Are you not seeing it?
No.
Are you seeing me? You're not seeing me?
Ah, there we
Are you not seeing my?
I'm not seeing you. Do I take off my picture?
Okay, I'm gonna have to.
There you go. There you go.
You see Denise now.
There you
Okay.
go. I let everybody share what they want to share.
Okay, let me get into this presentation here.
Woohoo! There we go.
We can make it happen. Are you able to see the screen?
I can see you now.
Yeah.
Do you
All right,
see the
get it, baby?
presenters? Do you see the presenters' faces?
We
Yes,
can.
I'm seeing everyone.
Okay, so Beauty and Brains, Miss Jessica Chandler. She's got 22 years of autoimmune research, sales, diagnostics. Some of the largest corporations in the world are her clients. She knows germs. She knows germs very well. So when we talk about a microbiotic approach, macrobiotic approach, yeah, she's been experienced in Petri dishes, let me tell you. I come from the cannabis industry since 2013 from the ground floor. So my role in raising the industry was through hemp and CBD education on a worldwide level. I did it through public relations and media, educated the world. So those who know about CBD have probably seen one of the 1,000+ mostly mainstream news interviews that have been produced through your TV. So That's who we are. We are the co-founders of CANNA World Expo, and it is my pleasure to introduce Rob, Doc Rob Streisfeld, NMD. He's a naturopathic doctor, also a radio show host on Cannabis Radio of Concierge for Better Living. He is an organic agriculture expert. He grows, he uses plants, he uses botanicals, he uses cannabis to help people. He's an author and a public speaker. And live from Jamaica is Dr. Ted Emanuel. He is a naturopathic doctor. He knows macrobiotics, and he's a wellness expert. He's an industry expert, author, and public speaker. And I am going to turn off my video, hopefully, so that I can give you a little bit of background on Dr. Ted Emanuel. So naturopathy or naturopathic medicine is a system of medicine based on the healing power of nature. Ted Emmanuel is a naturopathic physician whose passion is promoting physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness through a macrobiotic dietary program and corrective exercises tailored to the individual's need. A leading proponent of the natural system of beauty, skin, and health care, Dr. Ted Emanuel has developed his own internal and external philosophy during a long, illustrious career in the United States and the Caribbean. Dr. Emanuel is skilled in the art of African and Oriental diagnostic evaluation, in which he uses sight, sound, touch, and smell to evaluate the body's organs, glands, systems, and phases. Top medical professors, experts, and practitioners of traditional Chinese medicine have acclaimed his diagnostic techniques. Dr. Ted Emanuel has had significant success in the use of energetic properties of food to correct and eradicate such disorders as cancer, cardiovascular disorders, diabetes, obesity, liver cirrhosis, and HTLV1 virus, and many other common disorders. His commitment to discipline is demonstrated in his 4th degree black belt title, which he received from the Japan Karate Association and the International Shotokan Karate Federation. Dr. Ted Emanuel is also a Shiatsu master, pioneer, trained in New York under the great master Wataru Ohashi, the man who introduced Shiatsu to the Western world. Shiatsu is a massage technique which stimulates energy points and meridians in the body. Dr. Ted Emanuel has traveled and lectured extensively and has been a consultant to universities and health food organizations. In fact, you should ask him about why we have health food stores in the United States. Great story. His consultancies include sessions with the Ford Foundation and the Institute of International Education. He represented the Caribbean at the International Conference on the Use of Traditional Medicine in the Treatment of HIV/AIDS and Malaria, held in Nigeria. So without further ado, I would like to introduce everyone to Dr. Ted Emanuel.
Nice.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Denise. I am enormously grateful and equally humbled that I am asked to share with the world, seeing that it's a global CANNA conference. I'm just going to ask that we have an open mind so that we can learn from each other. I don't know if you're able to see me. Are you able to see me at all?
Not at the moment. We've had
okay. That's fine. That's okay. So today I would like to share why food is so important. Food is life. If we don't eat, we can't live. We cannot be sustained. We can't just live by water alone, even though it's been told that it's been a few people, I don't know them, who have lived for some time just drinking water. Anyway, food is life, food is energy, food is also intelligence. If we don't eat, we can't think. It's just that simple. We can't think. The brain won't work. Our neurological system won't function. So what is this thing we call food? Well, we rely on the energetic properties of food that we eat. It is very important. So the energy of what we eat must enhance our internal organs and glands and cells. But mainly, the chief organ would be the skin, which is what I really, if I was to say that I specialize in anything, it would be the care of the skin, which is the largest organ that relates to every organ within itself and gland. Every cell, in a way of speaking, benefits from the skin. Every cell. So it is important for us to know within, because we don't see it with our naked eye. But yes, we do, because the skin reflects what is going on inside, physiologically, mentally, spiritually, as well as emotionally. So if we're not making that type of connectivity, then we're just eating and enjoying what we eat. But are we really enjoying what we eat and not knowing what we're putting in? The more you know and understand what you're putting in, is the more appreciation you have for these wonderful things, the vegetables, the fruits, the grains, the nuts, the seeds, the beans, all these energetics, they keep us alive. But some people, even if they're only enjoying 10% of their life, sometimes they're happy with that because they don't know the other 90%. My job to sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste, yes, for the 5 elements, we're able to see the condition of the skin, marks, moles, warts, freckles, its thickness, that's the thickness of the skin, thinness, dryness, roughness, oiliness, doughiness. We have to know. So someone comes to me with acne. I'm just using acne. Well, acne is really a compliment. But we run and we go and we find all kinds of creams and remedies to put on the skin, but we are forgetting that what we see on the surface of the skin is reflective of what we put in. So when a person has acne and they are complaining, I encourage them to be happy, because the location of that pimple or pustule or whatever it is, marks, moles, or what on the skin, I am able to tell them and pinpoint specifically without any mistake the organ that relates to that area of the face or the chest or the back, because you do get acne on the chest and also you have pustules on the back. These oil glands, you only have acne by way of the acidic phase of the blood, not the water phase of the blood, okay? You don't get pus from water, it's impossible. So I would have to know by the characteristics of those pimples or pustules whether it's coming from nuts and seeds or from chicken or beef or pork. Each pimple tells me the animal source of the lipid, the oil, or if it's from legumes, you know, nuts and seeds, beans or peas, I have to know. So just approaching the skin by a name called acne, or are you with me now? I have to know. If the skin is oily, for instance, I want to know, is it, no, if the skin is dry, let me back up a second here, Ted. If the skin is dry, I have to know whether it is a false dryness or a true dehydration of the conium, the surface of the skin. I have to know, because the skin can be dry, lacking moisture, or dry, lacking oil, or dry, lacking both oil and moisture, before I make any kind of recommendation to the person and give them some kind of fantastic cosmetic to put on it. So when a person goes to a dermatologist, and we're not knocking our doctors here, because we need them as long as they're honest with us, all right? And that person gives them an ointment or antibiotics for acne. It's not good medicine. Are you with me? It's symptomatic rather than systematic approach. So I went the way of the skin.
What a novel
I'm leading in that way. I am leading in that way because we see the body as a whole and not as a part, hence macrobiotics here. We see the body as a whole and not as a part. So we deal with it from a system, a systematic perspective, and not a symptomatic one. So a person comes to me with cancer. Cancer is gendered. You have male cancer, or cancer with male disposition. You have cancer that is female, disposition-wise. So if you don't know that this cancer in the stomach is a male cancer, you're going to have problems, because you're going to give that person material, remedy that is expansive. The stomach is already an expansive organ. It's a vessel. Are you with me? Even though it is made up somewhat of protein, right? It's a balloon. The more you put in it, the more it expands. So if you're giving it food energy that is of an expansive nature, you will never help that person, because only female expand. When we see a male expanding, we know he's mimicking that of a female species. So we have to know these energies, the energetic properties of the things that we are bringing in. You can take, for instance, a cancer that is male, and you give them and try to remove the disorder, the disease from the body too rapidly, you're going to have problems.
Dr.
So
Ted,
again, we have to, yeah.
I mean, this is naturopath. This is holistic medicine at its best. I love what you're saying. Everything from looking at the skin and the first things we get exposed to, from the eyes to the skin to the, to things we can determine. But in truth, a lot of this dysfunction comes in from the internal health, and much of it, in fact, comes from digestive imbalance. And that's, as you started this conversation, how we fuel and how we feed the body with the right nutrients, not only can give us optimal health, but also kind of what we're here today. We're talking about immunity, and with stress and all these other factors, this is just the underlying basis of healing, is getting the body in its proper alignment, energetically in line, fueling it with the right foods, and optimizing health, and then body's own ability to heal itself, which is also very key here. I love where you're going with this. I personally dealt with acne for years, and now, very nicely, repaired because I changed my diet. I healed my gut. I boosted my immune system naturally. I reduced inflammation. These are things that everyone can do out there, especially when they can go into the refrigerator, into their garden, or into their herbal, medicine area, and get these benefits naturally. I think that's the real key here, for those listening, is you can do this. You can do this with food and diet and herbs, and you can boost your immune system that way for sure.
I appreciate it, because that's why I went to the stomach first.
I know.
But before the stomach is the mouth. And before the mouth, you have to think. And sometimes we don't think, we just react from sentimentality. Well, today I want to eat fish with rice and peas, and for no reason, I just chose fish and rice and peas because I just feel for it. Maybe
okay, so
the body really doesn't.
What vegetables or meats would you recommend to improve immunity, especially when people are looking at virus?
I love it. Well, there is no one food that will do it. It depends on the condition that the person is in. And Dr. Rob just said it a while ago. The digestive system, digestive health, is very important here when it comes to any virus or any disorder. But particularly a time like now, if your digestive system from your mouth to your anus is not intact, is not in balance, then your entire endocrine system is going to go flatline, is going to shut down. So once we strain our gut, the small intestine, the large intestine, every area of the small intestines correlate with other organs, other glands, or related glands. For instance, the entire small intestines correlate with the heart, the cardiovascular system, your neurological system. Even though it is attached to the large intestines, the colon. But still, if you are abusing the stomach by not masticating properly, even the best healing foods and herbs and all those things won't mean a damn thing, excuse my French. you'll be wasting money or shortchanging yourself and looking for miracles to happen. The body doesn't work that way. Conceptually speaking, we think so because we were taught that take a pill or take this injection or this. What they're looking for now what are they looking for, Dr. Rob? They're looking for a miracle cure.
Instant gratification, miracle cure. And I just want to jump in and say, when I finished going to school and became a doctor, and it was, many years of training, when I left, I'm wearing this hat today because I wear many hats, but I went to culinary school after I became a doctor. And I went to a plant-based culinary school afterwards. And a lot of my colleagues this is years ago, were wondering, what are you doing? You're a doctor. Why are you going to become a cook? I said, because every person I'll ever meet, whether they have acne or cancer or anything in between, everybody needs to eat. And I love what you said, because some of the basic rules is, number one, wash your hands. A lot of the cooking shows on TV always forget that part, wash your hands. And number two is, no matter what you're making, remember to chew. And I love that you said mastication, but for those listeners that aren't tuning in, it's chew your food. You have the enzymes, you have these amazing teeth. It's the first step to taking stress off the body is by actually digesting as much as you can in the mouth, so you have less to do in the gut. Yeah, and this is all part of the system that you're talking about, how it all translates to overall better health. I think that using food, I remember just talking, you said fish, peas, and rice. You made me think of Jamaica right off the bat, and ackee and all these things. I just go to riding horseback through some canopies in Jamaica a couple years ago, and it was like, oh, there's this plant. We use this for this healing. Oh, there's that herb. We eat this. And it's just using what nature gave us and what's in the garden, what's in your kitchen, what's in your pantry as the first point of healing, not the capsule, not the drug, that's very reactive. That's after you found you're already sick or unwell, but we can prevent that and promote healing through food and nutrition. What, you mentioned, going back for a second to skin health, you mentioned water and dehydration. I know that there's different seasons and there's different climates and different people, like if you're in Florida to Arizona, humidity. Do you have a guideline that you give your patients and clients on water consumption? That's one of the things let's start real basic.
Water. Oh yes. But that is individual specific.
Yes, everything's personal, right? Yeah.
You see, water being the greatest and I should say the biggest and most important thing when it comes to intelligence. You only have two on the planet. That's water and the sunlight. Let me explain that stuff. Blood making is, very, very crucial. So if you are not masticating, there are three things that would make blood, three of the top things that would make blood. Your saliva, chlorophyll, and oxygen. I know you already know that. So if you are not masticating well, you're going to disrupt the functionality of the upper and lower chamber of the stomach. Then the gut will never be healed, nor never be balanced enough to create an environment for the large intestines to work. You know that. And if that is the first place, the first place you get interruption would be in the cecum. When I've worked in different companies, Dr. Ted, I've worked with probiotic companies, I've worked digestive enzyme companies, I've worked with plant-based protein companies, and I go back to food, and the number one thing that comes up all the time, and I'm laughing because Jessica brought it up, in the sense of in this digestive health is, it's also what you put in your body, but it's also elimination.
if we're not eliminating properly,
Exactly.
we get toxic buildup, it weakens our immune system. And believe me, I've been all over the country and the world like you have, and people do not want to talk about being constipated. They do not want to talk about their bowel movements.
Constipation.
Yes.
That's one of the key things that I wanted to bring in here. That's why I went to the colon. The ascending colon is crucial that we understand the correlation between the ascending colon, the transverse, the descending colon, and the bowel. The bowel. The bowel itself as a whole area, it correlates with your reproductive and hormonal systems. You see, especially in men, women too, because of the mammary gland, but the entire colon itself has to be in tip-top condition in order for our hormonal system, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the pineal gland, they must be in good condition in order for us, this is about cannabis. You know the importance and the value of our endocannabidiol system. But at the same time, that's another big problem when the colon is not doing right. You take all these fantastic things and they don't work because the colon is not in well enough condition in order to assist the endocrine system, the hormonal system, the neurological system.
I think you're hitting something,
Absorption.
Dr. Ted. You keep saying system, and I just wanted to kind of catch that because I think from a holistic perspective, we look at all the systems and how they integrate together versus some of the modern or contemporary medical systems or industry would look at it as compartmentalized, or, the liver is over here, it's separate from everything else. The gut is over here, it's separate from everything else. The adrenal glands are over here. And in traditional medicines, Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, even naturopathy, we look at the whole body and how they interrelate and interconnect. When I fixed my digestive health, my acne went away. When I, so it wasn't just when I improved my lung health, I was able to breathe better. My allergies seemed to improve, and I don't have the congestion anymore, and I have less headaches. So all these things are connected. I think that for me, again, going back to food and even macrobiotics, one of the things that I think people don't understand, and one of the things I love about Jamaica is, it starts from the soil and the minerals and the nutrients that we grow our food in, and then all the way up to the quality of the food and how fresh and how nutrient dense those foods are, and then how we're able to take those foods into our body and digest them so those nutrients become bioavailable back to our body, and then our body can actually start to do the rest, start to use those nutrients to heal and support the functions. And that applies to herbal medicine, cannabis. They say that peaches today, for example, are like, you have to have like 30, 40 peaches to have the nutrient level of a peach, from 1950. That's one of the things. I go to Jamaica and my wife and I come there, we eat the fresh produce, the little bananas, the mangoes, right off the trees. And it's such a difference the way it makes us feel health-wise, energy-wise. And I love, Denise is putting up the medicine and the plant. And I consider that a vegetable as well, cannabis. I look at it in all forms and facets. This is where it builds your immune system from looking from that holistic paradigm. And
so
yeah, send it over, Denise.
Our audience has probably got questions. Can this help with immunity?
Well, it looks like Ganja. I don't know. I don't know
Ganja.
what it is. It is Ganja.
That was a Ganja, yep.
That was a Ganja. Great stuff, wonderful stuff. But as we know, what are we using it for? How are we using it? Most people, until recently, they only smoke the ganja. 99% of the people. In the older days, they would make tea and so forth with it. But at the same time, again, once we are disrupting, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because someone is breaking in, trying to call me. Again, the ganja itself, we use every part of the ganja, right? But at the same time here, who are you giving it to and for what? So systematically, if you're just saying smoke the stuff, it's one thing, but how much of it are you smoking? How much is necessary? How often is it being utilized? And like that. I combine things. I like to combine things. You see, no man is an island. So I don't rely on herbs to give me and take me where I want to go with that person's health. So I combine things and don't rely on the ganja. I rely mostly on food. And yes, you mentioned the soil. The soil is most important because the soil is, in fact, the food. Yeah. The soil is a part of these wonderful things. And even though we have some of the best soils on earth, it's known in Jamaica, if you don't know how to grow things, how to plant things, as a farmer, right now, I have slowed down with a lot of the things I'm doing, and I'm getting ready to start a program with the government of Jamaica as far as protecting the overall environment of the soil. Are you with me? The environment.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're starting here. We're starting here with by way of the harbor, the beaches.
Oh yeah.
To clean up the electromagnetic frequency in the area. And as you know, there's a lot going on. So if we are not soil friendly, we cannot be blood friendly, because the food that feeds and nourishes the cells can't help us but so much. So
well,
I appreciate your input as far as the soil is concerned.
Well,
the soil can give us nutrients.
If you don't mind, Dr. Rob, since you just mentioned about the soil and the nutrients, and you know, the whole fertilizer company and all that. Earlier about a year ago, I think we came out with this in August, or was it July? We were presenting pathogenic molds and what's growing in your substrates, and that's what's in the soil. That's the contaminants that is found, especially the indoor grows, the hydroponics. You know, you've got this coconut core that's contaminated with you know, fusarium and pythium. You've got, you know, various, oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into all the disgusting stuff that's in it. But that creates the contaminants within right at the root level with the root rot, and it's going right into the plant and becomes systemic. And in the grow industry, you know, with cannabis, you know, that's where you get your PM, you've got these blooms, you've got your clean rooms, you know, and all of a sudden you've got, you know, an outbreak of of PM. And it's like, where did it come from? When you have high protocols of everything, it's coming from the substrates.
Well, that's what I was saying was you have soil is that gift, but it could give you the nutrients and minerals that the body needs. It can also be uptaken by certain plants like ganja, like bamboo, and can actually pull and bring the toxins out of the soil into those plants. So everything has to be done with some consciousness. And you know, with Jamaica, Dr. Ted, we talked about this, the farmers there, the passion, their ability to work the land, the soil's amazing. I am as well, working with the Jamaican farmers and projects down there, and want to teach them new practices, regenerative farming, organic. I got land certified organic in Jamaica, which is not that common, just to try to improve the practices and have respect for the land itself. Once you burn through that soil, you don't have the ability to grow food for the people. And I think this is a big part. I know that there is not so much focused on large-scale indoor warehouses or grows like we do in North America for cannabis, but the soil itself, the outdoor farms, that's their livelihood in Jamaica, and that soil has to be protected from everything from pesticides and chemicals to just poor management. These are really foundational components, but we know that, as Dr. Ted was saying, smoking has some benefits for some people, but may not be the best use of the plant, the best delivery system of the plant for different individuals' needs. And there's different parts of the plant, you know, different compounds.
Exactly.
I've been studying.
There you go.
And so,
can we talk about those?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we talk about those?
Yeah, yes. I mean, that's my point. To switch into, you know, I'm breaking down the plant into different components. There's over 500 different compounds in cannabis, in ganja, and we're really still only focusing on a handful right now. Thankfully, one of them happens to be cannabidiol or CBD, like Denise is holding up. She and I both, we've been working on this category for many years, and we've been seeing research showing that cannabidiol, CBD, has some immune properties or immune benefiting properties, especially when it gets into the digestive system. So we're circling back to how this all works out.
That's why I went via the mouth. Selection of food and the whole bit. The digestive system can really help any company once they focus on educating the users about the importance of a healthy digestive system. And that's what I'm doing at this present moment throughout the Caribbean, is to re-educate our people, our farmers, so that they don't have this one-track mind. They must know to treat the soil as you would treat the entire GI tract. You can't just stuff food into your gut and not able to know when there is a problem, where it's coming from. Where's this problem manifested? How did you come up with this? Why are you a diabetic? You know, nobody should be a diabetic, and even if you're a diabetic, I challenge anyone out there, within 30 to 120 days, I correct it, even if you've been insulin dependent for 20 years. Are you with me? By way of correcting the condition of the entire digestive system, mainly the stomach, because the stomach controls the spleen and the pancreas. If you mess with the stomach, you're messing with the production of islets of Langerhans cells. So if you cannot repair the stomach health, then you're going to always have problems with insulin production, the manufacturing of insulin for carbohydrates. Even though the liver itself, and I know you would know this too, Doc, you all would know this, the liver itself also manufactures insulin by way of the gallbladder. You see? So if you don't, which is a part, they're all part of that whole digestive process. So it's knowing, it's understanding I am heavily involved in cannabidiol, but at the same time here, I want people to understand, don't put all the emphasis on the CBD itself, because if that person doesn't understand, it doesn't work alone, they will not be optimizing the benefits of the same CBD. Okay, Denise just pointed out some CBD. She just displayed some CBD a while ago.
Yeah.
That's the water phase CBD. Now, I am so enthralled behind this thing. I'm so damn excited behind the technology. You know, it's freaking me out, because this is exactly how I work. You cannot live by acid alone. Are you with me?
Oh, yeah.
Look at her showing me.
Well,
there you go. There you go. That's it.
So it's amazing technology. And one of the things I also, comment on, going back to Jamaica, is, you have this Rastafarian ITAL community that have been plant-based, for many years. And I know they use ganja for their, practices. But what I wanted to say was, when I went to Jamaica, I noticed all the juice bars and smoothie bars offering, fresh fruit and, smoothies. And when people use cannabis or cannabinoids like cannabidiol or even THC, when you're fueling the body with all these other great foods, fresh fruits and vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables, they support this system to allow the body to utilize the cannabidiol, these cannabinoids, even better. So for those people that are taking CBD and then going out and having fast food burgers, thinking that the CBD is a miracle cure, that doesn't work. We have to look at all the things we put in our body and on our body collectively. And ganja and the compounds like CBD are definitely beneficial. One other organ that I wanted to bring in, you mentioned the liver and the pancreas. I'm a big fan or focuser on the adrenal glands, because that's where you handle your stress. And if your digestive system's stressed out, or if you're not chewing enough and your body is stressing, and when you stress out, you produce more cortisol, which affects insulin and blood sugar and other things as well. So we have to look at stress management, how to reduce that, how to eat the proper foods to boost the immune system, and then use the right plant medicines and herbs and other lifestyle practices to optimize our immune system. I think that's the holistic perspective that we're looking to get across here today.
Well, back to the adrenals. The bile from the adrenals. Oh, you took off your hat. The adrenal glands here, it's very important that we keep the blood clean, because once the kidneys are undermined, especially only one kidney that deals with cortisone hormones. That are you with me? One deals with urine, and the other deals with the manufacturing of cortisone. So it's important. In Jamaica, you have a very high diabetic rate here. And we also have the highest rate of prostate cancer in the world per capita.
Wow.
In Jamaica. And that's because, again, of the excess fatty acid overburdening the oil phase of the blood, and not enough water to match here. So there's very little or no balance. You find a high intake of acidic things here. If they're going to eat nuts, they eat a lot of peanuts. A lot of peanuts. Well, peanuts, as you would know, has a downward energy, and it creates an imbalance in the blood system, an acidic, overly acidic condition that is not conducive to health. And on top of it, everything, almost everything is fried. If not deep fried stuff, they use a lot of oil, a lot of butter, and plenty of cheese. Cheese is a big problem.
I gotta stop. I gotta jump in here, Dr. Ted, because I mean, you said two of my favorite words, cheese and butter. And I gotta tell you, I'm, you know what? I've got like 6
moderation.
I've
moderation.
got butter, things like that. And I always try to do everything organic and is top quality. But man, you know what? There's something like, butter makes life good. So
good butter.
Yeah.
Good butter makes life good.
Yeah, good
butter.
I
There's
eat
a difference.
butter.
Good cheese.
Right.
Yeah.
Raw
Like
butter.
Butter's like
Dark yellow. Yeah, dark yellow butter with good CLA, good nutrients in it from grass-fed cows. That's a difference from commercially prepared, highly processed. And that's with everything what Dr. Ted's talking about in Jamaica. It was originally a diet of what's available. And that's in most cultures today. What was available, what's grown locally, what can we can depend on. And then with the import of processed foods and not healthy oils and all these other fast food ingredients, they've changed our whole digestive system and our whole immune system, not for the better. So they're still in moderation, like Dr. Ted said. If you have good, clean butter, preferably raw, in moderation. You have some good, clean
moderation.
Oils. Moderation, anything. Now, going back, to this concept, because you mentioned the peanuts, Dr. Ted, one of the other things with peanuts is mold. And that happens to affect a lot of people. But there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things that we can't eat, and a lot of good things we can do to put into our body for promoting our immune system. I know there's a lot of viral conditions, not just COVID in Jamaica, but there's other viral conditions that are rampant. I always mispronounce this. So the chikungunya.
HTLV.
Yeah.
HTLV.
Oh,
human lymphotropic virus. It's known, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but let me pat myself a little bit. I am the only one known who eradicates that virus.
I've had some preliminary success in Jamaica using a high-grade silver, a certain brand, probably called Argentin's the only one I recommend, but silver has been shown to be helpful with those viral conditions. Obviously some cannabinoids, a lot of other antiviral herbs, but it's not one magic bullet. It's a complement of several things, I'm sure, that has your protocol being successful.
What about mushrooms?
Exactly.
Mushrooms as well, too. I mean, we've got the, we've got this whole CV-19 thing going on. And I mean, I've had personal experience with mushrooms, with CBD, with colloidal silver and everything, with my own stuff in various different ways, including back in January with natural immunity. And I'm just wondering, what about the medicinal mushrooms that's also available? I mean, when you tie that in with, with cannabis, I mean, you're kind of like.
So let me jump in real quick. I know Dr. Ed probably has some thoughts, but I want to just talk about labels real quick, because in mushrooms, in this emerging space, I'm looking at 3 classifications of mushrooms right now. We have culinary, simply those used for food purposes. We have functional mushrooms, like turkey tail, reishi, lion's mane. These are considered functional mushrooms. They have an active purpose. And then you have the psychedelic ones, which are now, so when you say medicinal, there's going to be confusion when it comes to those being now therapeutically used psychedelics, psilocybin, psilocin, versus those that are functional mushrooms that are being used more in supplements and nutrition. I just want to be clear for everyone listening, because it's going to be just like, you know, the conversation that's been happening on cannabis for many years, this is the conversation starting to happen around mushrooms right now. And yes, there are many functional mushrooms that have been shown to be immune supporting, anti-cancer properties and things like that, like turkey tail and lion's mane. I use that in protocols also. And it's a growing category which more people need to get, you know, embrace, I think.
Yeah.
And
May I jump in? May I jump in on the mushroom very short, just briefly?
Yes.
I've been quite involved with mushrooms for over the years. I am the one that a company by the name of Ghana, you know, the Ghana derma mushroom. I was the one who introduced it to the Caribbean. Mushrooms, you have to be very careful with. I'm speaking openly now.
Yeah.
Mushrooms can be very, very deadly. I have some I just sat by a while ago growing out of a piece of log. There are people here that will break them off and go and wash them and try to use them. It is kind of mushroom is a tricky thing.
Yes.
Being Japanese trained and being involved in macrobiotics, mushrooms are special. The shiitake mushroom I use periodically, but the mushrooms one has to be very, very careful with mushrooms, like any food.
Yes.
Like any food, you know, depending on the condition where you live, you know, you don't want to pick mushrooms from a certain part of the island and go and use it if you don't live there. Mushrooms are kind of tricky. But you were saying something, Jessica? You were saying something, I'm sorry.
Yes. No, I was just asking about what you think about the functional mushroom, the role about functional mushrooms with both for getting over like the symptoms, like what we've got going on with this virus.
With the COVID?
I'm being nice.
Being very careful.
I'm being careful on this one. You know what are your thoughts on? Are there some? I mean, like I said, I've used mushrooms. I use CBD. I use colloidal silver, as well as some other oils and stuff to combat my round back in January with whatever this was. Is there any insights that you might have on
For the cordyceps, turkey tail, there are non-psychotropic medicinal blends that have really positively impacted the immune system of people who have been facing chronic disease. I witnessed it myself. Within 2 weeks, there is a major difference in their immunity, in their natural strength to take their life back, within their digestive system. And once a person has a very strong immune system, then they can obviously get over those chronic conditions. So we're not talking about the psychotropic mushrooms. We're really talking about this on a medicinal level.
Well,
okay.
Denise, I know Dr. Ted has a thought there, I'm sure, but what I just want to comment on what Jessica said was, it's not a one thing solution. And that's what people have to understand.
Exactly.
This is a complement of eating well, exercises, sunlight, good water, the right nutrients, the right herbal support. These are all facets, and people, again, most people are apathetic or not interested in taking the effort to get this kind of holistic system in place. And you don't have to be sick to want to make your immune system stronger, to make yourself feel better, to give yourself more energy. This is not about just what we're facing with today in our culture and our society. It's what we can do as a society so that we have a better future. I think that's a big part, and that's kind of macro view of it is there's a lot of tools in a healer's tool belt like Dr. Ted's and mine and others that we can utilize. The art, when you come to find a good healer, is find that healer who knows what tool to use for the person in front of them. And that's going to be key. And so you have to look at your doctors and your healers, and you have to do your research and not just get your medical advice off Facebook only. You have to do the work, but this is your life. This is your one body. This is what you have. This is your purpose. And I think that's kind of what I like to.
The one point I'd like to raise is that the energy level, the energy frequency in the foods that you ingest, coupled with that ability to increase the oxygen in the body.
There you go.
What we have found to be key with eliminating chronic conditions. And the reason for it is mold and virus can be addressed with added oxygen because the bacteria cannot live in an oxygenated environment.
Exactly.
Yep. So,
oxidation, and I'm glad that Denise hit on that. Oxidation is a terrible thing, and again, this is why macrobiotic understanding is crucially important, so that it's not about the remedy, but the individual that you're trying to assist. What condition are they in at this present time? Because if I treat or assist a diabetic this month, and I get them all cleaned up and pH balanced, and they're fine, insulin back on swing, and they're just they're well, and I see them 6 months or a year, just take a year later, and they come back and they say, hey, the stuff came back. I cannot go back and give them the same program I gave them a year ago. More times than that, I won't. I might not even use most of the things I use, depending on where they take the body, how far they take the body into the acidic realm to get back where they were. So we have to be careful here with remedies. In Jamaica right now, because of the COVID, we have a plethora of experts. All of a sudden, everybody is a herbalist. An herbalist. Well, you can't see me. I'm doing this to everybody. Expert.
I'm doing it for you.
If it's not the soursop bush, it's the fever grass bush. If it's not that, it's this. If it's not, and everybody's grandmother has a remedy or had a remedy. It doesn't work like that. A lot of times you get temporary relief, but it's not long-term. In macrobiotics, we go for long-term support rather than short-term. So understanding here is downright key to understanding the disorder and the condition that that person is in, because remember, condition is changing from moment to moment. And it is very important that we're able to see, hear, and know what and where that person is at this time when they come and visit us.
Right. We have to move to Q&A now. So yes. Let me see if I can move my slide forward. There we go. All right. So you should be seeing a microphone on your screen now, hopefully. We do have some questions that we have received, including, sorry, this is a big one. Which cooking oil do you recommend? Is there a difference?
Is that for me?
Yes, Dr. Ted.
Okay. First of all, oil comes in weight. Molecularly, oil comes in weight, just like paper comes in weight. And if you don't know or not paying attention to how heavy the oil is and where you are conditionally, acidic-wise, then you end up putting oil on oil. So if you are a person who is accustomed of having animal protein, to the cow, for instance, let's go to the cow. Those molecules are very huge, and more times than not, won't go into the cells. You might think that, but it's rare that you actually get those molecules. It's more times than not, they stack up and you become big, and people start telling you that you're fat because they attract water, okay? These fatty acids, the larger the molecules, the more they keep the body system hot, overheated. So we have to know that oil, the finer or the smaller the molecules, the thinner the oil. You don't just put any weight oil in your car engine. The manufacturer specifies that you either put 10W20 or 10W30 or 10W40 in your engine. The manual tells you based on the car and the manufacturer's specification when it comes to the oil part, okay? So the best oil that I would recommend is either sesame or safflower oil. Almond oil, I will use also or recommend, right? Olive oil, it depends on where it's coming from. They're not all equal. I use olive oil occasionally, or I would blend certain oil, right? But the best oil that I would recommend, if there is such a thing, the safest one would be sesame oil because it mimics the human lipid.
Okay, this question is for Doc Rob. What do you think about hemp oil?
Yeah.
Well, again, as the multiple hats, as the doctor, as a chef, as a product guy, I love hemp oil. I mean, again, like Dr. Ted said, oils have their own characteristics. And when it talks about cooking from a culinary perspective, we could use coconut oil or ghee for, more of the high heat cooking, light heat or very mild heat, the olive oil and the sesame oils and those other good oils, or typically hemp seed oil is typically not one for heating or cooking, but one that I often add to a smoothie or mix into a homemade vinaigrette or salad dressing that I'm putting together. The beneficial compounds, and they vary. Like, you're not going to get every same nutrient blend in one oil if you use the same oil all the time. Just like if you use the same, if you just take vitamin C, you're missing out all the other vitamins. So sometimes it's good to rotate, but again, everything in moderation and use sparingly. But I think hemp seed oil, specifically from a culinary perspective, nutritional perspective, is very good. Not to be mistaken with hemp oil or hemp extract oil, which is what we're seeing as a carrier for CBD or cannabidiol or things of that nature. So remember, people, there's two different things. Hemp extract or hemp oil is different from hemp seed oil. And it's important to look at your labels when you're looking at products that are claiming to have hemp oil in it, trying to sell this idea of CBD, but they're using hemp seed oil especially because hemp seed oil does not contain any high or noticeable levels of the phytocannabinoids like CBD.
Great, thank you. And we are coming to the end of our presentation. So if you could take just a couple of minutes, Dr. Emanuel, and please leave our audience with some final thoughts before we leave you all with information on CANNA World Expo in August 8th, August 15th, just throwing it out there, where both of our renowned doctors, Doc Rob and Dr. Ted Emanuel, will be presenting live. So, Dr. Ted, please give us some final thoughts.
Okay. Chewing is key. But selection is better. Selection of the things that you know that you need, and if you don't know, you go and you run and you ask someone like Dr. Rob. You find him wherever he is and you find out what you can use or others, because you have quite a few good naturopaths out there. I don't know if they cook. I don't know if they all cook. We're probably few naturopaths who cook. I cook myself, and I cook for health. You know, I don't just cook for taste and so forth. So selection is very important, but know your condition. Know what condition that you're in, because like the virus is one thing, but it is not the killer. It is labeled that. What kills you or what destroys you really, in essence, is the condition that you're in. And to make that sound as it is, or profound as it is, a lot of people getting the COVID-19 and survive. Old people, young people, you know, and they go through hell, but they survive. So the will of the person plays a big part, right? Hormonally. So for me to leave something of essence or substance with our listening audience here, our audience, is that exercise is crucial. You see, exercise, even if it's just walking, motion, especially now during this time, even if you can just go up and down the steps. We do it all the time here. I have a three-story house that I walk up and down the steps when I can't go outside, you know? So some kind of exercise, you must have exercise, because if you're not getting exercise and you're not optimizing your oxygen intake, you're gonna always be anemic, because you need the oxygen to assist the chlorophyll and the saliva to make blood, right? So this is very important. And make sure you have a regular selection of a variety of vegetables. But again, you must know where you are conditionally, so your selection of these things, I would not give a person who's having weak bladder and kidneys cabbage, for instance. Or if I am going to give them cabbage, I would marinate the cabbage, changing the energetics instead of going in a centrifugal direction, which, you know, that's how cabbage, they grow. They can swell. As long as you keep them there and you water them, they'll get as big as you will allow them before you pick them. So if that is the case, I would want to reverse the direction or energetics rather than a centrifugal to a centripetal
Dr. Ted,
direction.
Dr. Ted, we have
Yes.
just a couple minutes left here. I'd really like to
Yes.
give Dr. Rob a chance to get in a few thoughts before we have to literally be gone in a few minutes.
I'm
Listen,
done.
listen, I appreciate you, Dr. Ted, so much and what you've said, and thank you, Jessica and Denise and Canada World Expo for putting on this event and many others. I think, you know, it's funny, Dr. Ted, I spoke with one of my mentors yesterday, Donna Gates, the founder of the Body Ecology Diet. It was all about digestive health, and what you just said about cabbage, she taught me to take cabbage and then ferment it and to make, you know, sauerkraut, which changes its energy and digestibility. There's so much that we can learn. There's so much about food and nutrition that people can dive into and make their health better. There's so much opportunity for better living, which is what we're here to do and promote and educate. I thank you, Dr. Ted, for joining today and for sharing this insight. You know, Donna worked with Michio Kushi, one of the founders of macrobiotics, and I've got those principles built into me. There's so much here. I hope the listeners got some insight today from this information. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for more interaction and more events, more speaking engagements. And of course, if people that hear this, send Q&A, you know, send questions in through the social media channels, that, you know, at CANNA World Expo. Make sure to stay tuned for the upcoming ones on 8/8 and 8/15. I love this. I mean, this is what we're here for, especially when we're all kind of stuck at home. We want to enhance our mind, become more aware, mind, body, spirit. And again, thank you guys all for just having this event and making me a part of it. I appreciate that. And to all the people listening out there as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you just the same, and it's been an honor. And thank you, Denise. Thank you. You can't see me, but I'm bowing.
Thank you.
You know. And Jessica, thank you all. And balance is key.
Yes.
Balance is key.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, everybody. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you at CANNA World Expo on August 8th. For more information, visit our website, cannaworldexpo.com. Visit us on Facebook at CANNA World Expo. We will see you later. And Dr. Ted, Dr. Rob, you've earned it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.